All right. When we last left our band of intrepid officers, they had just managed to break into the large container below one of the landing pads. Unfortunately, Mouse, their diminutive tech priest, had triggered the defense systems on the container, and a pair of Pintle-mounted storm bolters had emerged, targeting our heroes as foes of the Imperium for their trespass.
A pair of bright red lights shine out from the front of them as the Pintle-Mounts begin to swivel and attempt to acquire targets.
Oh boy.
She's like still completely unaware of this, so she's still preparing and cutting and doing.
Where is the battery?
It is at Mouse's feet, sizzling gently.
She points to it while working.
All right, so Dalvon, what are you doing?
I mean, I followed her when she was hooking things up, and oh god, and I go to unhook the battery.
Okay, Jyo-Ti?
Fuck.
That's probably not an option right now. You should wait till we're at a dock to the station if you have needs to see to.
Oh, freaking hell. She actually shoulder their beamer meltagun with her right hand, which bears the recoiled glove, and
actually she aims at the mount of the bolter, not the bolter itself.
The blast of energy from the beamer meltagun completely engulfs the Pintle-mounted stormbolter. It melts the entire thing, causing several particularly angry-sounding pops and crackles to come off the top of it as the bolter shells cook off inside of the gun. Unfortunately, before Dalvon can reach down and before Mouse can get another shot at unlocking it, or at the very least calming the angered machine spirit, the Pintle-mounted stormbolter, the second one on the other side, opens fire. So, Dalvon, prepare to dodge.
Not dodge.
You reach down and you thought that you would grab that power cable in time, and then you hear the whir of that thing twisting towards you, and you just, shit. You go to jump out of the way, and your hand is caught on the power cable. Thud, thud. Alright, so you're going to take a total of 9 wounds from the 2 bolts.
So, after those bolts probably slam into me and those wires also get pulled, what happens then?
What happens then is Mouse has exactly 1 attempt to unlock the crate before the entirety of the system powers down.
She's still just humming away, like she doesn't even realize what's happening behind her. That's what that 100. Well, that's what that 100 roll does.
So go ahead and roll your minus 30 tech use.
Okay. Yes!
Wow.
Yes!
Holy crap.
That is impressive.
All right. From one extreme to the other. That's wow.
She realizes, like, as like the group is like screaming and like ducking for cover as the thing's just rapid firing, she's just like prepping everything, and all of a sudden she just nonchalantly flicks a switch and it just all shuts off, and she just keeps going.
All right. The sound of steel racking into place fills the air, and a pop and hiss comes from the pair of doors as the pistons inside push them forcefully open, sliding the snow and the mouse and the battery and the everything out of the way in a little snowdrift.
She turns around to you guys and she smirks as she puts her hands to her hips.
You realize I got shot, don't you?
She stopped her smirk. Huh? She looks around finally and notices that there's bullet holes everywhere and laser beam like burns through the snow everywhere. And she's like, And she kind of looks around, sees the two guns, and she just rubs her forehead. Query, when did those appear?
Well, the one gun and the one melted pile of slag dripping down the side of the crate. So, in this single shipping container, which is one of a series of at least 20, probably more, that are buried in the snow, there are dozens of smaller crates, which do not bear any locks or crazy mechanisms, but are illuminated by a pair of soft red lights and bear the golden seal, the double-headed eagle. A quick investigation allows you to identify a mass of quality lasguns, quality flak armor, and 1 crate of rotary grenade launchers. If you remember what I said earlier, it was reinforcement crates. Reinforcements to a particular regiment may not necessarily be from the original group. So the Vostroyans may not be reinforced by other Vostroyans. If that is the case, then they will need standard quality equipment to give to them. Because obviously, no Vostroyan is going to hand his family lasgun of a dead comrade to some random schmuck from another planet.
Absolutely, you're correct.
Unless pressed in battle. But even then, it's temporary. I'll be taking that back. This Inquisitor must have had either some pull in the Astra Militarum, or they were otherwise acquired, as the Inquisition is often known to do.
What? No.
It's not stealing if it all belongs to the Holy God Emperor of Terra anyway. With that done, I will go ahead and wrap up. Everybody has headed down. All of you are underneath the landing pads, except for Teyron. We will roll back around to the top of the round, or rather the bottom of the round, with Teyron again. You are able to pick up the sound of weapons fire to the north of your position, where you came from, near the landing pad.
I will Fox immediately. What's going on? Do you need reinforcements?
His voice comes through a little bit crackly, but clear enough for you to make out well. Does anyone care to respond?
Jyo-Ti probably responds. Negative. There was an incident with one of the crates. We had to disable its defense mechanisms.
Teyron will silently roll his eyes and continue searching the trenches that he's looking at.
Now stop worrying about the defenses and worry about making sure my guts don't fall out.
And go back to Taeron. As you are going through one of the bunkers, probably some kind of defensive post for mounting a heavy weapon, you are able to discover a secret room that is hidden beneath its floorboards. Known as a flashback point, or more generally by the lower class soldiers, a hidey hole, these little rooms allow crew to retreat into them when the trench is being overrun. It is not a place to hide and cower, though, but to prepare, as the guard regiments that make use of these tactics will emerge in a suicidal attack once the enemy line has overrun them, often detonating strings of charges or otherwise throwing themselves at the enemy to sow confusion so that the remaining guard can retake the lost ground. Only regiments known for their courage in battle are allowed to use such tactics, and it must be approved in advance by the Commissariat. This bunker contains a well-maintained M34 autocannon, 2 cases of autocannon rounds, 20 in each, and a half a dozen vests rigged with fragmentation grenades and studded with purity seals.
Well, I will take the autocannon and the autocannon round, and the frag grenade.
The frag grenades, you're probably going to need to get some kind of larger carrying sack for.
I'd have to remove a trigger guard or something, but otherwise this should be useful by me.
You would have to remove the trigger guard. It would be difficult for you to use, because your hand in the power armor is going to be very, very large. But without your gauntlet on, and maybe by attaching something to the trigger, you could probably make use of this fairly well. You'd have to brace it, but yeah, you're perfectly capable of setting down an autocannon and firing it.
For now, I'm throwing it over my shoulder. I'm going to load the ammo crates into the compartments of my backpack, and then I will continue searching.
All right, so we will go back to Mouse. You get your response from the Lord Captain. Yes, Mouse, I am on the bridge. What do you have to report?
Lord Captain, the unit officer cohorts have found a large cache of some very interesting quality weaponry. Unfortunately, these crates are of great size, greater than what we currently possess in order to bring them aboard Voidmaiden. The unit requests stronger, larger vehicles for both land transport to ships and then to Voidmaiden.
Okay, he will respond to you next round. So then that brings us up to Jyo-Ti.
Yeah, Jyo-Ti is going back to trying to see if there's anything else of interest within the confines of the landing pad.
With the assistance of Bolt Skull and a small area of the storm lightening up just a little bit, you are able to discover a pair of massive pillars of steel rising out in the distance around a pair of geothermal vents.
One would assume it's a power plant then.
Most likely.
What
You would have to approach to be sure.
I guess she will, on my next turn, I'll be approaching the location.
Jyo-Ti. Massive pillars of steel and rockcrete rise into the sky, studded with frozen banners that bear only the great aquila of the Imperium of Man. These machinations are a marvel that only tech priests can hope to create, massive shafts that dig down into the surface of the planet to provide immense power to surrounding structures. Tech priests use strange rites with powerful augurs to find the places in which these may be placed, so it is little surprise that they would be away from other main structures. They are studded with defensive lines, though those are barely visible now in the snowdrifts, that have managed to encroach upon even these heated masses of steel and ingenuity.
Do these building bear any resemblance to what I was messaging you earlier?
It does not seem to.
Judy comes to the group. This location is...
It is to the northeast, in the direction of the signals from earlier. Although you, at first glance, do not see anything that would function as a Vox Tower. And we come back around to Winter.
Winter then step back up to the door and looks back at Mouse and says, "If you wish to stay on board the shuttle, I will not object. However, you may find yourself bored out of your mind. Be sure to keep the door locked."
Affirmative.
And Calendrar did directly order everyone to ascertain the status of the area and report back information that you find.
Yep, she will get her things and she will head out with Winter.
All right. Then we will start at the top, and Mouse and Winter, you two are together. Are you going to a location together?
Yep, she's following Winter.
Currently, Jyo-Ti.
Everybody else has agreed to ignore my suggestion that we all stay together. Let's go join up with Jyo-Ti and see what she has found.
All right. Speaking of Jyo-Ti, you are going through the base of one of the large thermal vent pillars, and you find a data slate that has been lost behind a set of slag drums by one of the vents. Though it's heavily damaged, it may be partially read by someone who has the correct Mechanicus implants.
Looking at it, can I identify what kind of person would have been the one to have it?
The back of the data slate bears the symbol of the Cult Mechanicus. This was
Strange.
probably the personal data slate of someone in the tech priesthood of at least a tech acolyte level or higher.
I just find it rather strange that we haven't seen anything else bearing the mark of the Inquisition so far. The next
The
thing would...
Inquisition often brings in disparate groups to assist.
Yes, but they would be issuing some degree of way to identify everything.
Maybe they're just securing themselves and don't feel the need to mark everything with their symbol.
It's possible that because it's a base that isn't well known, there's no need to mark everything as Inquisition, and whatever groups are here have their own iconography present. So you do see Mouse and Winter trekking out of the hellish snowscape toward your location. Do you want to meet up with them and give the data slate to Mouse in order to record? She does have the correct knowledge of rights to read it.
That would be definitely what Jyo-Ti would be doing as soon as the two of them have properly arrived at the location.
Okay. So, Mouse, you are approached by Jyo-Ti, who has a damaged data slate that bears the emblem of the Cult Mechanicus.
She will take it and attempt to interface with it.
All right. Go ahead and roll me a tech use at -30. It is heavily damaged, both by where it was dropped and by the elements. But there is some data on it that you may be able to recover.
Nope, not even close.
Unfortunately, you can't get a grand majority of the data off of it. However, you are relatively sure that this is probably the personal data slate of a low-level tech acolyte, since the information on it is not in the standard machine code. but instead is written in normal plain text. The snippet that you are able to cut out tells you a little, but you will probably have to go over it in more detail to try and glean more. The entry says, "Since the snow has come, it has brought with it a singular clarity of duty. I had thought serving the Omnissiah through working to support the wars for humanity's freedom would prove he truly oversees all worthy life. But in the serene silence of this place, I find that service to the Imperium is the holiest of callings, no matter the setting."
She's reading this to the others.
Unfortunately, any data beyond this is currently corrupted and will take logic tests in order to recode or recover.
Okay.
Winter. After pouring through the area, you are finally able to spot what might be, at least if you're following the correct pipes this time, the main hub for the geothermal station, or one of them. There should be a few of these, considering the size of the operation. Unfortunately, as soon as you approach it, you realize that there will be little to help you here. The reinforced doors have been left wide open, and the cracks that mar the monitors signal to you that the elements have done their worst here. This building was made to prevent the elements from damaging the sensitive components necessary to regulate the power flow from below, but a house does little to stop the biting cold when you leave the doors open.
And this is something that the Mechanicus in their right minds would never let happen.
This is a moderate tech heresy. These machine spirits have been left open to the elements to be damaged and destroyed, and they would be right to be furious should they have survived at all.
I'm getting more and more paranoid about not finding anyone, even bodies.
So, it does seem that tech use may be of assistance here. Additionally, a scrutiny may also be of use here. Any of the 3 people who are in the location can apply those skills.
She looks up at you.
Can you do anything for these war cogitators?
Should I go take a look?
All right. So, you are able to determine that if you had a good power source, you could go through and scavenge parts from some of the devices in order to resuscitate at least one of the machine spirits so that you could speak to it. You would probably need to retrieve the power source from the lander, or the ones from beneath that are laying next to where Dalvon is resting. But after that and a little bit of work, you could probably get access to some of the information on these systems.
Okay. She'll begin work.
All right. And Jyo-Ti and Winter, you move around at the entryway, attempting to try and find any signs of individuals who may have been around when this plant was functional. And you do find something. Definitely another sign that the tech priesthood was here, but a strange one. Winter spots a dark spot in the snow, and lifts away some of it in order to reveal the crimson robes of a tech priest. Expecting it to be a body, you exhume the rest of it from the snow, but there is no body. It is just the outer robe.
There's not even implants?
No. However, as Jyo-Ti looks on at this exceedingly strange sight, you feel the ground shift slightly beneath your feet. And taking a step back, you see that there is shining metal gleaming up at you from beneath the snow. And you exhume this and find that it is a odd brace. Looks like it was probably meant to go around one's shoulders, with several spindly cables hanging from the inside of it. The outside is a pair of ballistic mechadendrites ending in high quality las pistols.
And the whole thing seems to be well made.
It looks to be well made, and it looks to be completely clean of any corrosion, and there are no signs of the flesh that it was most likely at some point attached to. It looks like it just came out of the foundry.
But it looks like it is, but there's also signs that it probably already was in use, because it's not where it would be if it came out of the foundry.
Well, if it came out of the foundry, it most likely would have been directly installed onto the tech priest that it was being made for, because this kind of item would be custom made for a specific individual. Probably not a tech acolyte, at least someone of a significant rank in the cult Mechanicus.
Are there any identification markings?
You are able to find several sets of markings on it, but they don't seem to be in any kind of language. They seem to just be hash marks carved into it. It looks like the kind of odd line-like braille that you see on the surfaces of some machines. Often tech priests will walk up to it, and either one of their mechadendrites or a part of them will flash a green beam across its surface, scanning it. Unfortunately, you don't have anything like that on you.
No.
Might be best to ask the tech priest what the hell that means.
Yeah.
Let me do Teyron's last roll. So, what at first seems to be undetonated ordnance from a bombing actually turns out to be a small structure that was dropped from above. Though it's shaped like a bomb, instead it has a small door that is swinging gently in the wind. This little room contains a large red button, and above this button is a low Gothic sign saying, "Press this, Humes."
Wait, like Humies?
Nope, it's missing the I.
Yeah, I've fought orcs before.
You have now found all of the items in the defensive line. With that, we have fully cleared the defensive line. It's funny, I actually thought that you guys would fully clear the landing pads first, but you only found one item and then moved on. So maybe we'll check that out next time. Thank you for joining us to watch this band of Imperial officers as they search through the outpost, piecing together clues as they go along and trying to discover if there is any profit that can be made here. If you haven't yet, please give us a thumbs up and comment if you enjoyed the video, and even slap the subscribe button. If you're feeling especially spicy, then you could come support us on Patreon or buy me a coffee. The links are in the description. And now on to my favorite part, where I read out our list of supporters while Chesh lovingly puts together the credit roll. Let's start with the power tier. Dark Sarah, Darth Cavalier, Doodle Poodle, Emanon, Jay Jones, John the Wicked, Joshua Williams, Sneaky Gi, and the Traveling Bard Extraordinaire. In the Planar tier, Ice Commander, Ice Dragon, and Sparkle Lord the Fabulous. In the Adventurer tier, All's Fiction, Bastion Falconwrath, Dragon Tempest, John R300, Justin, Katie, Moshope Akinwale, Mystics, Ty Korjak, and V. In the Quest Giver tier, Breezebender, Chris Householder, Cold Brad, Dark Sarah, Jesse Labrie, Link FD, Kyla, Lunatic Overlord, Night Archer, Mitsuya VA, ODST Hero, PPNTT807, Robert Edwards, Robert Mischief, Rio 1990, Sephiroth Kurosame, Sin for You, and Y87. In the Townsfolk tier, Adrian, Blizzard Hawk, Birdor the Cage, Biz Adrian, Brett Bemis, Dylan Taylor, Doodle Poodle, Enrique, Gordy Danky, Kazuko, Lone Soul 6, Love Bites Back, Mordant Dragon, Scott Stedman, Sense Backpack, Sergeant Humpty, Sherlock, Shugenja, Tom Brazo, Wicked Ways, and Zanair. And a special mention, of course, as always, to Scion of Magnus and Sammy Wolf. And as always, we can't forget our crew here: Doodle Poodle, Nala Fontaine, Shadow Wolf, Scorpius187, MC_Cheshire, Thriving Inferno, and the Forever Servo Skull. Me. Thank you all so much for watching, and as always, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and I will see you in the next one. Good night, all.